40,000 years ago, if you heard something moving in the dark outside your camp, the smart move was to grab a spear, not roll over and go back to sleep. Nearly everything with teeth out there wanted you dead. Cave hyenas, cave lions, and wolves, hunting in coordinated packs, capable of running down prey twice their size. Any sensible Ice Age human would have treated a nearby wolf pack as a 5-alarm emergency. So it's strange when you think about it that this exact animal is the one now snoring at the foot of your bed. Not the gentle deer, not the docile wild goat, the apex predator. Out of every creature roaming the Ice Age world, humans somehow ended up sharing a home, a bed, and eventually an emotional bond with the one animal built to kill things like us. Right now, dogs outnumber wolves by roughly 1,000 to 1. They guide the blind, sniff out cancer, pull sleds across Antarctica, and let toddlers ride them like ponies. None of that was the plan. There was no Ice Age council that decided to engineer a loyal, floppy-eared helper. What actually happened is stranger, slower, and honestly, a little bit accidental. Wolves may have started turning themselves into dogs before a single human tried to tame one. Picture a hunter-gatherer camp during the last Ice Age. Small groups, maybe a few dozen people, constantly moving, constantly hungry. Hunts failed more often than they succeeded. A sprained ankle in the wrong season could be fatal. And every camp, every single one, produced garbage. Cracked bones, skin scraps, spoiled meat nobody bothered burying. To a wolf, that garbage pile was easy money. No stampeding herd to chase down, no antlers to dodge, just calories sitting there for the taking. But approaching a fire full of spear-carrying humans was dangerous, so most wolves kept their distance. A few didn't. And this is where things get interesting. Every wolf pack has a personality spread. Some individuals are jumpy and defensive. Others are naturally bolder, calmer around strange sounds and unfamiliar smells. The nervous wolves stayed in the shadows and starved. The aggressive ones got too close and were killed. But the wolves with just enough curiosity and just enough patience figured out how to hover at the edge of firelight and eat well without a fight. Generation after generation, those calmer wolves outsurvived and outbred their jumpier, angrier relatives. Nobody was training them. Evolution was doing the sorting on its own. You'd think this idea sounds too neat to be real, except scientists have basically recreated it on purpose. Starting in 1959, a Soviet researcher began an experiment on a fox farm in Siberia. His method was almost insultingly simple. Every generation, breed only the calmest, friendliest foxes, and nothing else. No training, no rewards, no tricks. Just picking the mellow ones and letting them have pups. Within about 10 generations, those foxes were behaving like golden retrievers, tails wagging at the sight of a person, whining for attention. Some even started licking researchers' hands. And their bodies followed their behavior. Ears went floppy, snouts got shorter. Patches of white fur showed up in their coats for no engineered reason at all. Nobody had bred for looks. Calmness alone seemed to unlock a whole cascade of physical changes. That's very likely the same thing that happened to those first friendly wolves lurking near Ice Age campfires. Long before anyone thought of them as pets, they may have already looked a little softer, a little less like a predator, and a little more like something you'd let stick around. And humans had real reasons to let them. A half-tame wolf hears a bear approaching before any human does. It catches a stranger's scent from 100 meters out. It's a built-in alarm system that also happens to be useful for tracking game. Once both species figured out they were safer and better fed together, the arrangement snowballed fast. Dogs likely became humanity's first domesticated animal, arriving on the scene before goats, before sheep, before farming existed in any form. When agriculture eventually did show up, dogs adapted again. Early farming humans ate far more starchy grain, and dogs evolved extra copies of a gene that helps break down starch. Something wolves never developed. They were quite literally rewriting their own biology to keep pace with ours. Something even deeper than digestion changed too. When a dog locks eyes with its owner, both brains release oxytocin, the exact same bonding chemical that fires between a parent and a newborn. Wolves don't do this with humans. Dogs evolved too. Those big, pleading puppy eyes people always joke about aren't an accident of breeding. They're a survival strategy. Dogs that looked more emotionally readable got fed more, protected more, and passed on more puppies. None of this came free. Thousands of years of selective breeding for appearance rather than health left many modern breeds with real problems. Flattened snouts that make breathing difficult, elongated spines prone to injury, hips too narrow for natural birth. The cost of shaping dogs into what humans wanted is written into their bodies today. But the wolf never fully disappeared. Watch a dog circle 3 times before lying down, and you're watching an animal flattening grass that isn't there anymore. Watch it bury a bone in a backyard with no threat of scarcity, and you're watching an Ice Age survival instinct fire uselessly out of habit, thousands of generations later. Maybe that's the real difference between dogs and every other animal humans ever tamed. Cattle tolerate people. Cats mostly ignore them. Dogs chose to stay close. In a burial site in Germany dated to roughly 14,000 years ago, archaeologists uncovered a young dog laid to rest beside 2 humans. Bone analysis showed the dog had survived a brutal illness as a puppy for weeks, maybe months, which means someone kept it alive and fed through that sickness, at a time when feeding another mouth could mean going hungry yourself. That's not simple usefulness. That's someone choosing to spend scarce food on an animal that couldn't hunt, couldn't work, and couldn't repay them yet. That's the earliest evidence we have of something a lot closer to love. So the next time your dog flops down next to you without a second thought, remember what you're actually looking at. Not a pet. Not livestock. The living result of a bond that started with a few bold wolves creeping toward a campfire, tens of thousands of years before anyone alive today was born.